Hello guys, welcome back to the Nitro Nick YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a follow-up review of the Hobao Hyper ST RTR. The model comes from the factory with a Muckstar 4.6cc 6-port engine that runs on nitro fuel obviously, a 6 kilogram throttle and brake servo, and a 9 kilogram steering servo. Obviously I'm going to start off with the most important part, which is the engine. The Muckstar 28 big block engine is able to push his truggy to 45 miles an hour in about 4 or 5 seconds. It is rated about 3.2 brake horsepower, but it feels to be around 3.5. The power band comes very suddenly at around 10 to 11,000 revs per minute, and once it is in, it is a weapon. With the included COPS pull starter, you can get it started around 4 to 5 pulls cold, but it is quite weak, so I swapped it out for a fast 555 starter box with one singular big motor. The box, all you have to do is turn the radio on. You can see that steering servo is pretty swift, and the throttle servo isn't too bad either. Obviously I've only got 2 hands, I am a human, so I'm just going to full throttle, turn the box on and prime it. And after that, I grab my LRP glow igniter and I take the camera, because this bit I can do with one hand because I can set the controller down, and I start it. Obviously, because it's starting from cold, it takes a little while. As you can see, it took quite a long time to stop by blocking the exhaust, and that is because one weak spot on these engines is the exhaust gaskets. Or maybe the exhaust port and the manifold, I'm not sure what the problem is. But for some reason, I need 2 exhaust springs instead of 1 to keep the manifold in place. And even though I do that, the included Hobao one broke down just after the break-in, so I had to replace it with an Aromax one. They are stronger, but they still leak. I've fixed the problem by putting 2 exhaust springs on it. I use Aromax exhaust springs. I'm running this in Optifuel 25. It's got tons of power, and I'm going to drive it in a minute. I use buggy tyres instead of truggy tyres, and I'll tell you why. The truggy tyres are very big. As you can see, they are way bigger. And because they are bigger, it also means that the suspension has to take more. And another weak spot on these cars, actually, if you can see, are the metal knuckles. Just there. Metal knuckles. They break. The screw underneath sometimes strips. I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. The screw underneath, to be more specific, the screw thread, so you can see it now, strips where that bolt comes in. That bolt strips, and when it does, the wheels have excess camber. So with the buggy wheels, it is more durable. It can't take as high jumps than these, because smaller wheels you get, the less travel you're going to get. But these wheels have been very effective. Obviously they reduce the top speed, but they increase the acceleration of the car. Tuning the engine is pretty easy too, although it does have a 3rd needle, as you can see there. 3rd carb needle right there. Which is not, as Hobao says, it is not the mid-range needle, it is the mixture control valve. And it has a little hole going through the needle, and it overall it controls how rich or lean the mixture is going into the engine, independent of the lower high-speed needle. Hobao's recommended engine settings for this I found are quite lean for when the engine is just broken in, so I use another setting that I will stick in the description. it comes with an AA battery box, similar to this, but shorter. I would not use those because I've had those pop out before, and I've had runaways on my old car before, so I don't use them anymore. Instead, I use a straight pack volt 1600 milliamp with duct tape on it, and it comes with the lid for that. The radio system is really okay as well. It's a rebranded Etronics Pulse EX4G, with the control knobs on top and the steering direction. The EX3G does not come with those. It's very basic. The range isn't great on this, to be honest, because as soon as you get maybe 50 or 60 yards away, the input delay is quite bad. You'll have to wait 0.6 or 0.7 seconds before you can hear the blip, for example, that you put in through the controller. Another weak spot on this is these shock towers. They are made of weak plastic. You crush it upside down and these will snap off. The Pro one comes with CNC shock towers and one single body post coming through the middle. This has 4, so in some way it should be more stable. This one piece steering plate and front shock tower is actually a good idea because it increases the durability. These are dog bones. On the front there are CVs, on the rear there are CVs as well. These can pop out sometimes, these drive shafts, and they can jam suspension upwards. I will put the clip now. And you have to take the screw out and pop it back in. I had to do that on the track quite a few times with the truggy tyres. With the buggy tyres, I did not have a problem. A feature of this that I didn't realise until yesterday, actually, a whole month after owning it, is that you can actually lock the centre differential. So if I get that, can you see that screw? Right now, if I spin these tyres, nothing. If I was to spin them together, and there is almost no movement on the rear wheels. But if I get a 2mm hex driver, like this really worn down horrible one, and I get the grub screw up, right there, and I screw it in, it locks the centre differential, which I find to be very useful if you want to do stunts or if you're at the track, because the oil that comes with this centre differential is really thin and it's almost like an open diff, to be honest, so I almost always run it locked up. Because obviously all the power goes to the front wheels, which can lift up, and then you just don't get anywhere, and you just get the balloon in front tyres, and I've actually blown out a set of front tyres like that. The engine bolts on this car actually came basically stripped from the factory. Yeah, that's not great. I've already placed one because that's the only one that I could get undone because the rest was stripped. I'm just waiting on a screw extractor to get the rest of those out. Another thing that I'm pretty impressed about on this car are these suspension arms, especially the rear ones. I've landed this on one wheel from a 20, maybe even 30-foot jump. I don't have the footage, sadly. Dylan has it. I'm not sure if he deleted it or not, or if it's in like an archive somewhere. I landed it on one wheel from like a 30 or 40-foot jump, and all of the stress went straight through this suspension arm and actually broke that rear brace. I had to buy another one, but this took it, and I was actually really surprised because on my FTX Zorro Nitro, this feels like very similar material, but it's obviously not. Either that or they've engineered it better, because it took all that stress from a one-wheel landing from 40 foot sideways. Yeah, that impressed me a lot. This fuel tank actually burnt and melted at the side because I had the exhaust pipe actually touching it, because I thought that was how it was supposed to be set up. It wasn't. This air filter I am going to replace with a Centurion Max dual intake, because even though it's really fine, it lets all the muck in. The oil captures it, but it just looks really unsightly, and it doesn't really match the rest of the car, being when it was new, bright orange. Take the turbo plugs. I'm running a medium hot one. I find that easiest to start in this lovely British weather. Yeah. The shocks are okay too. I mean, they don't come with the preload screws. They actually come with little spacers, front and rear. These come with either 550 or 600 weight shock oil, which I actually ramped up to 800. This is my old stuff. 800 CST. I'm not sure what weight that is. It's probably like 60 or 70. Not sure. But that makes it a lot more prone to not bottoming out from small jumps. Big jumps, obviously, it's going to bottom out. The Pro one comes with these shock boots. I don't have them. I will buy them. It has a little ridge there. Please focus. Has a little ridge there so that the shock boot can kind of clamp onto it. It's very simple. You just unscrew this little link and just slip it on. Put the link back on. I've always had a little issue with this car with when I brake, the chassis flexes, or at least the top plate does. It is very slight, but it still happens, and I'm not entirely sure that that is supposed to be happening. If it is, then okay. But if it isn't, then if any of you guys could tell me why, then that would be good. Originally, this aerial tube was way up here. It looked really silly, so I removed it and I cut another one down to size. The aerial actually only comes up to about there, and all that extra height was just making it look really ridiculous, and especially when it's waving about in the wind or when it went over bumps, it just looked silly. So overall, should you consider buying this this truggy, Hobao Hyper ST RTR? If you put the faults aside, it is absolutely brilliant. The faults are pretty minor, and you can fix them within 5 minutes if you're at the track. It's a good park basher, a good backyard basher. If you want to take it to the track occasionally, you can do that. But it's not going to take the jumps as well as, say, a Lossy, Buggy, or a Mugen truggy. Definitely prefer it over what people have done with brushless conversions. It just has no soul. I use this in wear and the HNMCC or whatever it's called in a 1/8 track. You can do nitro electric there. I highly recommend it if you live in Essex. Although another little issue, the steering's developed some play. I'm not sure what's up with that. I think it's due to the connecting plate, whatever you call it. But should you buy it? Absolutely, I highly recommend it if you're on a budget, or if you just want something to bash around the park and track occasionally. It's good for competition. It's very stable with these tyres, and even more so with the buggy ones. Yeah, I recommend it. It is $329.99 on makeitbuildir.co.uk. Shipped to me in about 3 days. When I first unboxed it, I mean, oh my god, it was, compared to my little short course truck, it was absolutely massive. Yeah. Breaking it in wasn't too hard. I've got a video previously on the channel of me breaking in this engine. Pull start was quite inconvenient because you have to pull it out from the gasket, which is kind of annoying. But get a starter box. It's really easy to start. Yeah, I do completely recommend this. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you soon.